The bureaucracy just keeps growing and more undermines the will of the executive that it's supposed to work for. So how do you actually, if you get in there, wind down the bureaucracy, get it right again?
So there's a couple things. You have size, and then you have scope of power that they're exercising. So on the size, Florida, we have the lowest or second lowest state workers per capita in the entire United States in terms of the size of our state government. The amount that it costs for all our state employees per capita is like half of what it would be in like a New York or California and all that. But yet when the New Yorkers move to Florida, they say our services are better, our roads are nicer, and we are performing better in education now. So don't tell me all this bureaucracy is necessary. They've increased the agencies by 50% since 2019. A lot of that was COVID, and then they locked it in at higher levels. Are you trying to tell me if we went back to just the size of government we had 5 years ago that somehow that this would be bad for the country? Are you 50% better off as an American? Of course not. So there's so much of this that is grossly excessive. So we're going to do things like reduction through attrition. We're going to empower the secretaries, to be more aggressive at laying people off. We're going to issue a directive. All DC footprint for the agencies needs to be reduced by 50% because you've had so much of these people consolidated in DC and all that. So that's just, the government is too big and we need to reduce its size. But then what's more ominous than even that is the scope of power that they're exercising, because it's not consistent with the way our Constitution was designed. The Founding Fathers designed 3 branches of government: executive, legislative, judicial. They did not design a 4th branch of government, an administrative state that is now grown to where it's exercising authority over us with impunity, regardless in many instances of the outcomes of elections, and they're not held constitutionally accountable. So that creates bad things for society in terms of the policies that they're pursuing, how they want to restrict energy, what they want to do for what kind of cars you can drive. Heck, even gas stoves is now something they're talking. By the way, in Florida, we made gas stoves tax-free, so we're going at a little bit different direction than the feds, but that's fine. So you have that, and the question is who governs? Do we govern ourselves? If we govern ourselves, that means that the things that affect your lives are voted on by your elected representatives, so that if you don't like what they're doing, you can show them the door. When it's done by nameless, faceless bureaucrats who will never stand for election, they're exercising power without proper accountability of we, the American people. So we need to return the government back to we, the people. And so you look at things like weaponization of the DOJ, FBI, IRS. The founders would have predicted that this would happen. When you have power accumulate and it's not being held constitutionally accountable, human nature being what it is, they are going to abuse their power. This is not something that they would have thought was unforeseen. And so you got to go in on those agencies, Republican and Democrat. Now, the Democrat presidents can accept it because they're going to do their bidding, but all Republican presidents in our recent lifetime have accepted the canard that the DOJ and FBI are, quote, independent. And independent means they're not accountable to anybody. And these are the people that have guns and can put you in jail. Those are not the people that you want to not have accountability. They are not independent agencies. They are executive branch agencies that report to the elected president of the United States. And the president has got to hold those agencies accountable for their conduct and hold them accountable for abusing their power. For example, if you have a situation where parents are being surveilled by the FBI going to school board meetings, you fire those people who did that. When you have memos circulating that are identifying traditional Catholics as potential terrorists, you fire the people that were involved with doing that. When you have the FBI working with big tech to censor truthful information and particularly in the midst of election like they did with Hunter Biden, you fire the people that did that, but you say you cannot. In Florida, we actually prohibit our employees from working with big tech to censor information. You got to take action. And then, of course, you have some of these health bureaucracies that were run amok during COVID. CDC, FDA, NIH, all of those need to be brought to heel. But you, as the elected president, need to be willing to wield your Article 2 power to the fullest extent to bring this bureaucracy in line with the constitutional design. And so if you have somebody who's exercising power that's not accountable, like a Dr. Fauci, the way you deal with a Fauci, you don't elevate Fauci, you don't coddle Fauci, you bring him in, you sit him down, and you say, Anthony, you're fired. That's what you do.